Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mawani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 21st September and the first item that I have for you guys is Mood Diplomacy. It's about North Korea and South Korea. A meeting took place between both the nations, of course between leaders of both the nations. And yesterday it was printed as a news item. We talked about it. I provided you a timeline as well, and I believe that all of you are well educated about the timeline of this North Korea and South Korea as far as their bilateral relationship is concerned. Because if you haven't gone through it, then I will reckon you guys to go through it. If you don't know what it is all about, how it all started and what it used to be a few years ago, then it will be nearly impossible for you to get that in-depth understanding about this North Korea and South Korea. Now, the most interesting thing about diplomatic world, and these are the shades that you have to catch, there was a time when I was doing research on this particular topic, and at that point of time, I realized that this place where they are holding this meeting took place here. If you don't know, then let me tell you, Mount Paektu. Now, this Mount Paektu is very important for the people of North Korea as well as for the people of South Korea. And in fact, if you go through the statement of Mr. Moo, he said that it was his dream, that one day he will get this chance to visit this place called Mount Paektu, and he realized, generally speaking, how it works is that if you want to visit, if you are from South Korea and if you want to visit this Mount Paektu, then you have to take this route to China. Via China, you can reach here. It's something, we can feel this, we can understand this thing, because if we want to visit Pakistan for any sort of, religious purpose or something that is important, a place that is important, that has cultural significance with our way of life, and if you want to visit there, then it's not going to be that easy, isn't it, to get visa and approval. So same thing goes here for this Mount Paektu, North Korea and South Korea. So this president of South Korea said that I am not going via China, right? I will go from my land only. I will go from South Korea. I will directly go to North Korea. So this was just like his dream, and it's true now. He has been here. And the message that we are getting from this visit, right? See, this is how I was talking about this shades. And you have to understand, you have to, when we say analysis, when you're preparing for competitive exams, particularly for those exams in which you have to write some descriptive answers and you need to have this background knowledge. So it's very important that you train yourself, and this is possible. It will take a little bit of time, but it's very interesting thing. You will start reading, they say read between the lines, but what is read between the lines, or how you do it? The reason why they, these diplomats, they arrange their meetings at this, at this locations is because it will create interest, it will create positive interest of people of North Korea as well as South Korea when you are having a meeting at a particular region. Same thing goes for our country as well. When our Prime Minister is visiting, say for example Cambodia, and when he is visiting, or when he is visiting Nepal, if he hits Pashupatinath temple, so it's going to add that warmth. It will create a sort of you can say a space for the Prime Minister, not just for Prime Minister, but for India. The background message is not to win, votes in Nepal. Of course, it is about winning the hearts and minds of the people of Nepal. And who is trying to win it? It's not the Prime Minister. It is India who is trying to do it. So this is how it works in diplomatic world. I hope this thing is clear to you. Now, let me quickly take you through this geography. As you can see on your screen, you have North Korea here. You can see this border that it is sharing with China, a very tiny border with Russian Federation, of course. Then you have Japan, which is not far from here. Now, if you are following current affairs for a bit of time now, 6 months or 1 year, then you'll be aware about this thing that we have talked about this particular topic many a times. If you go back in 2017, then this region was in news for a very long period of time. In 2018 as well, at various different occasions, this particular region has been in news. So what I reckon you guys, that you should be very clear when it comes to this region. This is called East Asian portion, and you should know things about like basic things. Japan, its capital, compare its capital, and east wise, north wise, and south, north, east, west orientation. So see the capital of like where is Beijing and where is this Pyongyang and this Seoul, and what I'm trying to say, like compare and try to look at it from geography, this sort of like where you find Japan Sea, and what about the water that you have here, and what about the water that you have here, what's the name of this water bodies here. And this is your first question as well for the day. So give me the answer of these two items here. Give me what you find here and what you find here, specific names, and this type of questions you find in your MCQ. So it's very important for you guys to know this thing. Apart from that, if you want to understand geopolitics, then you have to understand locations. You have to go through these maps as well. Now let's talk about this meeting here. This meeting is very important meeting, of course, no doubt. I have a question for you. Can you give me the answer? This is question number 2 for you. So this flag belongs to North Korea or South Korea, and this one belongs to South Korea or North Korea. So left one belongs to which country and right one is for which country? This is your question number 2 for the day. Now moving on to this item here. Very important meeting when Mr. Moon headed towards North Korea. He went there with 2 goals. First one, to revive this relationship between USA and North Korea, particularly after this 12th June meeting that took place in Singapore. After that, we saw some very harsh statements coming from both the sides. So this is something that is not healthy. We don't want to see this thing, and to keep everything in line, to make sure that everything is all right and everyone is happy with each other. It's going to be a bit difficult. Negotiations are going to take time as well, but we have to stick with it because the ultimate goal is peace, tranquility, and progress for the people of Korean Peninsula. So, and not only people of Korean Peninsula, but of course for people of Japan as well, and you can take people of China, Russia, parts of Russia, and so the whole world, in fact, right? Because anything going wrong, if we have nuclear war here, then it's going to be detrimental for the whole world, isn't it? We don't want to see this thing anywhere in the world ever. Let's hope for it. Now second point is to infuse this fresh warmth into North and South thaw. So 2 goals achieved. Yes, successful visit, you can say. See, at this point where we are, right, when I say when we are, I'm talking about the world. The place where we are standing at present, we are not going to see big results now. It's all about talking and agreeing on things. Once you agree, once you discuss all these things, then you can see implementation portion. So we should not be too much hasty, and we should not expect too much as well now. We should give it time, right? It will take a little bit of time for both the countries, to get used to with each other. And this applies to our country as well, Pakistan and India. Together, both our nations, they can do something what this North Korea and South Korea they're doing. Let me tell you about South Korea. South Korea is a very, you can say, extraordinary example of rags to riches story. It was very poor country around 50s and 60s and this point of time. But after that, it is means at now it is, if I'm not wrong, per capita income of people of South Korea is more than people of USA. So you can you imagine, it was a country that was supported by USA at one point of time. It was trained by people of USA and Japan, and now when it comes to technology, when it comes to so many things, it is ahead of both this nation. So hardworking people, focused, dedicated people and nation, good leaders, all these things have created this sort of result for South Korea. North Korea, we have a different story, dictators and other things. But the reason why North Korea or any other country, will keep on proliferating, because if things are not right, if at global level, if your enemies or arch rivals are countries like Russia or USA, these countries are famous for invading other countries. So if you have this sort of arch rivals, then you have to make sure that you are secure enough, or you have enough weapons that will at least, stop them. At least USA will think twice before attacking North Korea. And one of the reason is because North Korea is having nuclear weapons. Iraq was not having it, and you know the result. So all things, proliferating and getting rid of it, are all part of tactics. That's how I see them. Because if you don't have something that will add weight, overall, if you are not strong enough, basically, then USA is not going to listen to you, isn't it? But if you have these weapons and other things, then USA will at least, it will listen to you, it will pay attention, it will analyze what you are saying, or else, in the other case, if you don't have anything, then you will be ignored. So it's a tactic, right? It's an old age tactic that if you want to negotiate with your enemy, then first of all become so strong that it will become, a bit difficult for your enemy to have this upper hand. You can have equal hands, but upper hand in one party, then you can expect the negotiations will be in favor of that party, the party that is heavier or more strong. So I hope all these things are making sense for you guys, and the main intention here is to give you background as well as overall bird's eye view about how things are working here and what are the issues. This Korean War that took place started somewhere in 1950, and it lasted for 3 years. At that point of time, world was divided into two powers. You have one Russia, that is, or USSR to be precise. So it was supporting North Korea, and South Korea was supported by USA. And since then, relationships were very bad between North Korea and South Korea, North Korea and North Korea and USA. But later on, they started chatting with each other and things were going all right. But all of a sudden, North Korea stepped out of this non-proliferation treaty. And since then, USA and North Korea are arch rivals, and you can say enemies as well. So anyways, things are all right now, and USA has responded optimistically, expressing that it is ready to, to develop relationship with North Korea and to make sure that everything is, means this whole region is denuclearized, because North Korea has agreed in this meeting that it is going to get rid of this Tonchan-ri missile test system. It is also going to get rid of, means it's ready to get rid of this Yongbyon nuclear facility if USA is taking necessary steps. So let's hope that USA, as it has agreed, USA says that it's ready to have a chat with Mr. Kim and to develop this relationship further. So let's hope that this is done as soon as possible. With this, dear friends, let's move on to another item. And it is about our pen drive and tablet courses. Up to 50% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses, and this is going to last till 23rd September. So if you haven't got it, do check out StudyIQ.com. It will help you immensely with your preparation. Moving on to another item, dear friends. The second item, of course, you can download the PDF of this lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. Now, the second item that we have here is, luckily, we are lucky enough that we have got a very interesting topic in this yes, no, and it's complicated. Because generally speaking, to be honest, I don't find them that attractive or that knowledgeable thing. It's more about, when you read all three opinions, what happens is that it will confuse you, generally speaking, but rarely you find something good in this thing. And today we have NITI Aayog. Is the NITI Aayog relevant today? A question, I believe, a topic that can be asked if you are preparing for Civil Services Examination particularly, then it is a very important topic for your mains examination, particularly GS paper. So pay attention to this thing and make sure that you go through this article as well once we are done with our discussion here on this video lecture. Now, NITI Aayog, it was formed, of course, to bring fresh ideas. It is also called think tank. And what happens in a think tank? People from, experts and people having a practical experience about a particular field, they will come together and they will discuss things about, say, for example, if we want to find some solution about water management in our country, then you will rope in all those scientists and experts and professors and water activists and environmental activists and everyone. You bring them in and then you start this brainstorming session, and then you share different ideas, and then you decide that, okay, these are the ideas that are good enough, practical ideas, something that we can apply, and then these ideas are provided to government so government can implement all these things. So this is the main job of NITI Aayog, and this is it's based on a very right model as well. Generally speaking, what happens is that we become so used to with things around us, right? This happens with government as well. It happens with any organization as well. When a particular organization is building something or creating, or if it is in a business of doing or producing something for a very long period of time, what you will find is that new ideas and things will not pop in. At the time when the business was started, at that point of time, it was very innovative, but now the whole, once you innovate something, then later on it's all about getting used to with it and making this whole operation smooth and things like that. So later on what we find is that the creativity dies. It's not every time, but generally speaking. So when you have, say for example, an office that is a bit away from where you are, not physically, I'm talking mentally as well. So if you have a sort of umpire sort of thing, or a person who is observing, or a department that is observing the whole thing, and if it is not affected by day-to-day operation, then you can expect fresh idea. It's just like becoming, that you have a situation. So becoming, if you want to solve something, say for example, if you have X and Y, so you become Z, you step out of this situation, so you can say it from third eye, or you can say from third party perspective. So NITI Aayog's role is something similar when it comes to government. It is an action tank as well. It works like an agent of change because it comes with new ideas, and the whole introduction of NITI Aayog, of course, is changing what it was earlier on, this planning commission, and bringing more accountability. Because what used to happen under planning commission, we have this 5 years plans. We used to have 5 years plans. So in total we had like 12 plans, right? 25, so 60 years we had this 5-year plan. And analyzing a particular plan, like say for example the last plan of 12th 5-year plan, to analyze this plan, it will take a little bit more time, and then we will be able to analyze this thing. So accountability was not there. So this is something that has been introduced by NITI Aayog. The other thing is Ayushman Bharat. You have artificial intelligence, water conservation, and National Medical Commission replacing Medical Council of India. All these ideas are brainchild of NITI Aayog. So good points coming from NITI Aayog. Apart from that, when it comes to collecting data and checking performance of various ministries, it has set up this development, monitoring and evaluation office that collects a real-time basis data and displays this real-time basis data. It has created 1,500 Atal tinkering labs under this Atal innovation mission to science labs in schools, so that kids can play around with scientific things, and we can generate this interest, a scientific temperament in our kids. And by March 2019, it is said that we are going to have some 5,000 labs in our country. This Atal tinkering labs, we are going to have them. We have 20 Atal incubation centers in our country that encourages our youngsters and innovators and startup companies. All these things are product of NITI Aayog. So these are the positive points about NITI Aayog. Yes, it is relevant. The negative thing is, and the most negative thing that I would say is, it's not, we don't find NITI Aayog criticizing Prime Minister or government. Now, it is very important that it stays impartial. If something is wrong, then it should say this is wrong. If something is right, then it should appreciate that thing. That's how NITI Aayog should be. This is what we expect from an institution like NITI Aayog. But sadly, we find a little bit of political inclination of the members who are in the NITI Aayog. I'm not blaming them. This is what we find, or this is something that is reflected. So being impartial is very important, and if government is doing something wrong, then it should be criticized as well by NITI Aayog. So this is a negative point that I find, and in this article here, that's interesting and important. And now Yes, it's complicated. Yes, no, it's complicated. The complicated portion or the middle path, or what are the things that we need to repair or understand. See, NITI Aayog, when it comes to planning is very important for the success of any nation or society or for individuals. So Chinese companies or China as a nation, it started planning. It started the State Planning Commission, and since then we see that China has implemented all the plans and things. The way China, it all started with this planning, this State Planning Commission and introduction of this planning process. Same thing goes for East Asian countries and Southeast Asian countries. I was talking about South Korea, isn't it? We were talking about South Korea, and why South Korea is so successful is because there was a time when prime ministers of South Korea, the main man, the main chief man or woman, they used to have so many business meetings. They used to chat with this industries or people in this various different industries, how they can improve, what are the things. Prime Minister was there, having interaction with all this businessmen and every important people. So because of this constant interaction, the leaders, political leaders, started getting information like what are the things that are going on in the market. These are the things that we need to do. Government should do this and that and things like that. And then they created all this planning, and then they implemented it, and they got success. Something that we are missing here in our country even today. So we need more of these things, right? We can learn from best practices that were followed by other countries, and we need to get rid of all those mistakes. We can have this late starters advantage. And lastly, bureaucracy, right? What we find in NITI Aayog is, or when it comes to implementation or brainstorming, we many a times find generalists like IAS officers taking part in it. What we need specialists, right? That's the thing. That's the new way of solving things, specialist rather than generalist. Now that's everything. Now this article is a pure political one. This one is a political one. This one is talking about a duty to defend. Now in Haryana, in Rewari district, this bar association, means basically advocates have decided that they are not going to fight. No one is going to represent this gang rape accused people, right? So now the thing is, this is not fair, because I'll give you one example. Just imagine if you are not looking that much after your diet or food, or if you are consuming alcohol, or if you have any other sort of habits, then if you are not well and if you visit doctor will not tell you that because you are not looking after your health, I'm not going to see you, or you have never looked after your health. You are up till late night and you don't sleep enough, you eat junk food and other things, so I'm not going to look after you. Get out. You won't find this thing, isn't it? Because there are a few professions you are duty bound. Like doctor cannot say no to a criminal. Doctor cannot say no to any bad person as well. He or she has to treat that person just like a patient, right? They cannot have that Dr. Astana sort of thing, that they cannot have this emotional. They cannot look at it from this point. I hope it's making sense. So there are a few ethics that everyone needs to follow, and same thing goes for advocates as well. Now one thing is that until you are proven in the court, right, you are innocent. So technically speaking, this not convicts, but this accused people, right, they are innocent at present. And if you don't defend them, if no one is going to represent them, then basically we are delaying the whole this criminal justice or this whole process as far as this case is concerned. So for the betterment of case, for justice, someone has to represent these people. I hope this thing is clear to you. Now let's move on to this one very quickly. It's about this 5 prominent activists. They are behind the bars, and now Supreme Court has basically reserved its decision. So there can be 3 things. First thing is that whatever Maharashtra police has done is right. Second is that it could be rejected by Supreme Court, and the third possibility is that an independent investigation will be conducted on this thing. Now there are 2 sides. The central government is saying that it is having some credible information, or there is a proper terrorist conspiracy, and the counter argument is that because these people were not these 5 activists, they were criticizing government, this is the reason why they are in trouble at present. But the most important thing that you find in this article or in this matter is Article 32. Under this Article 32, Supreme Court enforces fundamental rights. Now the question is that when it comes to criminal matters, is it all right for our courts to step in when investigation is going on? Is it all right for courts to step in? So this is a big question, and hopefully in future we will find some more articles and more insight on this thing. By time you can think about it, that is it going to be right? It's going to be too much interference, isn't it? We need to have proper. Now, once this whole Supreme Court has gone through documents and everything, it has just reserved its decision about whether these people are innocent, or these documents, basically not innocent, but these documents are all right or documents are not all right. That's what Supreme Court is looking at. So in near future we will get that update, and after that we are going to take this whole issue to next level. Now let's move on to important news item. India has said yes. India has agreed that yes, we are going to interact with the Pakistan at the sidelines of United Nations General Assembly that is going to take place in New York in near future. That generally takes place in September 28. Every September you have this UNGA. So it was proposed by Pakistan that we should interact with each other, and India said yes. But India has said this thing, clarified this thing, that talks and terrors could not go together. Then varsities, that is universities, to observe Surgical Strike Day. This is a sort of letter that is written by UGC. Now, okay as well, not okay as well, right? Let's not interfere, right, with this sort of things. Means when I say interfere, I'm not saying from our side. I'm saying that UGC should not, impose this sort of things. Surgical Strike Day, is it just one off? Right? Aren't we going to do some more surgical strikes if we find that if they are military necessity? So, and what message we are trying to give here? So this is bit political, which I think is not right. Forgotten switch leads to on-flight scare. A big, 30 passengers, they got this nosebleed because of this pilot basically. He forgot to switch on a button that helps maintain this cabin pressure. Supreme Court lets acting DGP in Jammu and Kashmir continue for next few weeks. UPSC has been ordered that within 4 weeks you have to finalize the name of the candidate who is proper or who is eligible to become DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan invites Saudi Arabia to join this CPEC. Now CPEC is more for fuel security, energy security of China, rather than shipping your oil from this portion to here. It's better that from here you can directly send it here. So that's what China is. One of the main purpose for China is this one, oil security, right? CPEC. So Saudi Arabia has been invited by Pakistan. Very interesting picture here, right? I'm so impressed. I'm so happy as well. I hope we find this sort of dustbins everywhere, recycled, or you can say eco-friendly dustbins, right? Easy to empty, easy to stick anywhere. So if we have dustbins everywhere, when I say everywhere, I mean to say if they are easily available everywhere, then I believe it will increase, or it will change this habit of people. Nearly 1 lakh winged visitors, this open bill stroke you find in Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary, that is in West Bengal. Then we have got this new National Sex Offenders Registry, which will have name and fingerprints and DNA details and other details of sex offenders. This is one of its kind. We are 9th country in the world to have this thing. And financial news, CVC is looking into CBI. There's some issues are going on between CBI director and his deputy. So it's a matter of concern. Then small saving, right? To small saving, that is small saving 1 to 3 year, sort of saving that is between 1 to 3 year. 30 basis point. So that is 0.30% rise in interest rate. So more interest rate for all those people who have invested in 1 to 3 year small savings. And for 5-year plus saving, you will get 40 basis point, that is 0.40. So if you were getting 7.6% earlier on interest, now you will get 8% if it is 5-year plus sort of thing. So that's it. And dear friends, the main Booker Prize will be released soon, but here is your final list. And yesterday I asked you a question about Gujarat, so this is Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Khambat. You can see Daman and Div, Union Territories, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, again Union Territory, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra is there, and then you have Pakistan as international border. I have a question for you. In recent past, we have seen that president of our country and vice president, they visited 3 different countries of Europe. So can you give me the name of the countries where president had his recent visit and name of the countries where our vice president had or was there, answers for your questions are here, and these are your 2 questions, and third one is about trade wars, and followed by this lecture you will find a PIB analysis, right? Press Information Bureau analysis, very important for students preparing for UPSC, SSC and other exams. You find important current affairs associated with union ministries, as well as you are delivered every day. We deliver a special topic as well. Today's special topic is police reform. So check it out right after this lecture, or maybe one lecture after that. You'll find PIB analysis. Make sure you share this lecture with other students. Thank you very much to all students who are sharing it on regular basis. I'll see you all soon tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, and God bless you all. Enjoy your day. Jai Hind.